What's going on, everyone? So I promised you all we would be back with some Fennec Shan, and today we are doing so. The hate must stop. I know I have a lot of Fennec enjoyers, some connoisseurs of some Fennec out there, and so we're gonna dive in and definitely give this our best shot to see what it is capable of. And honestly, I am pretty excited because I do like playing ambushing units, and well, it's just going to be fun to play something that we don't normally get to play. So before we dive into this deck list today, I want to say a big thank you this time to all of you commenting about Fennec. I just thought it was fun to engage with you all. I know a lot of you are passionate about this, so it was just fun to kind of, figure out a deck and, interact with you all. Also, big thank you to my patrons for supporting the channel, and I have a TCG player link in the description down below. But let's dive into the list, see what we got going on, and see what we can do. First things first, Fennec. So this character has a really interesting ability. We can pay 1 to play a unit that costs 4 or less from our hand to give it ambush. So anything that costs 4 or less. The key ones here, we have a few of them. K2SO, Valiant Assault Ship, and the 1 copy of Sabine Wren are the best. Valiant Assault Ship gives that Saboteur and could potentially be a 5/4, which could be really, really good as an ambusher. K2SO can overwhelm through. If we have a bunch of other random units like a Fleet Lieutenant or a Saboteur like Rebel Pathfinder, that can be nice to go ahead and ambush out. But to be honest, we're not going to be using this front side action all that much. On the flip side, we get a 4/4 Saboteur body and the ability to play those ambushing units for free. So you don't need to go ahead and pay the 1 extra to make something like Valiant Assault Ship cost 5, which actually does give you some options, especially in the early game. But we're actually just playing a pretty standard heroism, cunning, aggression, aggro deck with Tarkhan Town. And we've all seen how powerful Tarkhan Town can be. We have a very standard rebel sort of curve option available to us. We have things like Fleet Lieutenant with A-Wings, Sabines, Rebel Pathfinders. We've got Wing Leaders with K2s and Fleet Lieutenants and things like that. A little bit of an underlying Rebel synergy alongside just getting in and getting a ton of damage in, hopefully. So we're going to see what we can do with this and, hopefully win some games with Fennec. Let's dive into some games today. Into our game 1, got ourselves a little bit of a mirror match with the Cunning Aggro deck. Let's mulligan this one. Quinlan can certainly go ahead and just kill one of our early units, which prevents Wing Leader from really doing work. Also, they could just kill Wing Leader. This one's pretty good. We've got ourselves a nice little curve here. I think I'll resource this Rebel Pathfinder and probably this Liberator gunship. And I'm going to pass here on turn 1. I don't want to be the person who plays first into Quinlan so that they can just remove my units. It ends up being pretty bad. And they're going to just go on in and take initiative, and that's totally fine, right? We're both pretty aggro decks, and us kind of getting past this early game stage is fine. And I'm just going to pass again. If they want to play something, that's fine. If they don't, then, well, we're just going to keep doing this, I suppose, until the end of days. We really can't play anything into them, because if they do, they get to match whatever we play, and we are hopelessly behind, like quite behind. So we're just going to keep passing. They're going to go ahead and get down that K2, which is fantastic, because I think what we're going to do is we're going to go A-Wing plus Daring Raid Tarkhan Town. So let's go Daring Raid Tarkhan Town away the K2 just to get rid of it. And then we're going to pass. Red 3 is a decent draw. Another Sabine Wren, or rather our first Sabine Wren. I suppose I'll get rid of that since we are getting Fennec down this turn. We have a lot of options here. Or rather, we could get Fennec down this turn, which gives us a lot of options. Leia Organa, they're going to go ahead and hit the A-Wing and exhaust the A-Wing. Okay. I think I will go ahead and get down Fennec. This gives us the option to play something with 4 or less cost, as we spoke about earlier. And I think that will be maybe Red 3, maybe the Millennium Falcon, but it's not going to get ambushed for anything interesting for our purposes. Ooh, I think I am interested in just surprise striking away that Quinlan, and I think I will just go ahead and do that. Just kill Quinlan, prevent him from getting a little bit of extra value here. And if they were planning on like force throwing us or anything like that, it's going to really work out quite well. Tarkin Town away. Sure, I'm going to use the ambushing ability on this to go ahead and hit the Leia. And they're going to daring raid my Fennec. So we are in a pretty good spot, right? That whole sequence, the result of it is us having a unit on the battlefield and them not. And we have both leaders down. So I think waiting was the best thing to do, as we really don't want to be in a spot where we just get absolutely destroyed. So our opponent is going to play a Kira. They get to decide what to name here. If they name Plo Koon, then obviously we won't be playing Plo Koon. If they don't, we can play a Millennium Falcon. We can go ahead and play another Millennium Falcon. We can play a For a Cause. We have quite a few different options here. They're going to name Millennium Falcon. I believe they're going to name the 3 cost. Interesting. Okay. I'm not going to ambush with the Plo Koon. I'm just going to get it down. No ambush. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to pass. Drew ourselves another For a Cause. I think they named the wrong Millennium Falcon, but I believe this this Kira has to name a specific one. And again, it looks like that they named the big one, which is a little bit unfortunate. So they're going to surprise strike. That's fine. I think I'm just interested in hitting the base. They're kind of hitting our units at this point, and we're just going to be hitting their base. Oh, they have a Plo Koon. Okay, so that ended up working pretty well for them. We're going to get an A-Wing down. And then we're going to get the For a Cause down. Let's see. We've got ourselves... Ooh, I like K2. And do I like the Fleet Lieutenant? I do like the Fleet Lieutenant. Whoops. Let's undo this. We're going to For a Cause, and I want to top. Pass on the R2. And then we'll pass. Because we can ambush out this K2. Or if they want to do that, they're going to take a For a Cause. A little bit surprised that they're going to take the For a Cause, to be honest. Let's get the K2 out. We're going to hit the Plo Koon, which is going to kill it. And then we're not going to take any damage. Force throw, sure, get rid of the Fleet Lieutenant. Honestly, discarding my card doesn't really matter, to be honest. We're going to claim initiative. And, I mean, they kind of have to deal with this. No, they're not going to deal with the K2. Wow, I'm a little bit surprised. Oh, they are. Okay, so we're going to deal 3 damage here. And, I mean, we are in a pretty good spot. We're in a very good spot because we're going to kill this Red 3. And we're going to get down a Millennium Falcon. Just get the free trade out. They're going to get a Kira. And, I mean, what are they going to name? I suppose they could name Millennium Falcon. That's big. But that still just makes it cost 9. Actually, I don't believe it costs 9 since Smuggle is going to be an ability. So we could just go ahead and smuggle out that Millennium Falcon. They got a daring raid. We're going to go ahead and claim initiative. And what do we smuggle in? The Sabine Wren. Okay, so Sabine Wren... pretty good, but not insane. We're not going to resource anything here. And very much an attrition battle, right? Very much an attrition battle this game. But the fact that we waited really benefited us. And then we were able to use our ambushers to greater effect. Now, they have nothing. So I think we're safe to just claim initiative here. They have to have something in the smuggle pile. And I'm trying to think what cunning aggression could have. And, well, Cassian is about what I thought. Or like a Hotshot Blaster, or even a Millennium Falcon of their own, but it doesn't matter because we just claim initiative and we finish out the game. So GG to our opponent here. And I mean, Quinlan Red, not like an insane deck by any means, but definitely I would put it in like a solid tier. I think because we passed, because they had to pull the trigger first, really limits what Quinlan had to do. And we were able to pull out the win there. Pretty sweet stuff. Very weird game, but ended up working out for us. Into our next game, and normally I wouldn't mind this type of hand, but I am going to mulligan it. Of course, we mulligan into a pretty bad hand. Gonna have to resource this surprise strike. No turn 1 plays in a deck that has, what, 13 or 14 of them is pretty nasty. I'm gonna pass just so to see if they have anything that I can like daring raid plus Tarkin Town on turn 1. They played an Inferno 4, which makes me just want to claim initiative here. Horrible situation for us. And even worse, to be honest, because we drew a 4-drop and a 5-drop, and that's just horrible. Definitely not where we want to be at all. Let's get this Millennium Falcon down. We are going to kill their Inferno 4. I'm kind of hoping that they're going to go ahead and kill off my Millennium Falcon. But I am going to kill that Inferno 4 because I'm expecting to bounce this Millennium Falcon. I don't really care about the 3 damage to base right now. They're going to claim initiative. Okay, that's not terrible for us. But of course, we draw a 4-drop, which is not where we want to be. We can get down Akira, and we can potentially bamboozle something, which could be interesting. It can really mess up like a Chilton, which is not bad. So I'm definitely going to resource one of these 4-drops. But yeah, I mean, we have so many cheap cards in the deck, and we are just drawing a very, very expensive hand. Hello there. They said, love the channel. Appreciate that, my friend. Lom Pike coming down. Okay. Lom Pike isn't like that insanely scary. We will name... I guess I could actually choose it, right? Did they... That's really cool. So now you can name the Kira instead of just putting it in the chat. Awesome. That's cool. Little nice addition to Karabast. I think that's pretty sweet. Let's pass here, and there are 2-drops. We got ourselves a double R2 drawn. Not really what I want to be seeing. Hotshot Blaster could do some work here, although I'm not really sure what we want to be doing. If I can get Fennec down, and then I can Plo Koon away the Lom Pike, that could work really well. They're just going to attack. They're going to give a shield token. No, they're not going to give a shield token. Okay, in that case, I will just attack their base for 3. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Because we have the Tarkin Town. They're going to Death Trooper. Okay, not surprised at that one. We are going to deploy Fennec just to see what they're going to do. They've got the Krennic. Okay, let's go ahead and kill the Lom Pike. And are they going to attack Fennec? And they're going to attack the base. Okay, so let's go ahead and attack. I can ambush out R2, but that actually gets it killed. Let's go ahead and attack the base. Let's play a Plo Koon ambush, hit the Death Trooper, and then let's pass. Very sweet draw in the K2. Let's resource this L3, I suppose, because I could smuggle that out a little bit later. Take down the Fennec. Okay, let's just go ahead and... Yes, I will discard this to exhaust the Krennic. And then I will R2, discard the Millennium Falcon, grab this for a cause. I will then play the K2, and then I will attack for 6 into their base. And the reason I did it this way, just to attack for the most amount of damage possible, then have these 4 causes to be sort of this like end game way to really get some value going with direct damage. But Krennic could heal up a lot, right? That is always a concern. Always, always, always a concern. They're just going to attack straight up, which I'm a little bit surprised about, because I think what I'll do here is just Hotshot Blaster the K2 into the base for 6. And we'll see what my opponent has. I mean, they have a Darth Vader, which is what we're expecting to come down. I would have just expected them to play the Darth Vader first. And I would have, if I was them, probably just killed the Plo Koon, hoping I could get a Sentinel so that I can really negate some of this K2 damage. They decided to go with the Krennic attack, which I think is another viable option. It really depends on what they have in hand, right? There's the Vader, which we expected. Let's see if they're able to get a Sentinel. Or some sort of healing option. Okay, they got a Calculating Magna Guard. So this technically doesn't get Sentinel here. Oh. I don't know about that one. I'm going to claim initiative here. Because our opponent... Ooh, and a Surprise Strike. I can go Surprise Strike plus 4 cause. That puts 9 damage on the base. Yeah, I don't know how they win now. Yeah. We just Surprise Strike in for 9. If they kill K2, the game is over. Even if they kill it with Krennic, because it deals 3. So now K2 is a massive problem for them. And now we just 4 cause, and that should win. No way. We hit the Surprise Strike of the Hotshot Blaster. No way. That is incredibly unlucky. That does not happen in the deck very often. But we have a second one, which hits for 4. GG. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I would have been a little bit worried there, considering the only... we have quite a few cards. In total, we have 10 cards. So there's an 80% chance of hitting a Heroism card. They said good luck with the Fennec video. Appreciate that, my friend. We have 10 cards that are non-heroism, so 80% chance, which means that, you know, it's likely that we'll hit 3 damage, but 2 damage is rough. That's a rough hit for sure. There we go. Let's move on to the next game. They knew the Fennec video was coming. And yet again, we got a hand with no turn 1 play. We're going to mulligan that into, well, a lot better of a hand, to be honest. We can resource this Hotshot Blaster, and I think we'll resource this Breaking In to have multiple turn 1 plays. And I think what I want to do here is just pass. I don't mind if our opponent has nothing. That looks like they have something, so I will go ahead and just drop in this Sabine Wren since it's a Rebel. I'd rather have a Rebel down on turn 1 over the L3. We're going to pass. We got ourselves a Wing Leader. Okay, Wing Leader is not bad. I am going to resource this L3 at this point, but Wing Leader can work with Sabine. It also does trade with the Silencer, which can be pretty interesting. Now, the question is, do I want to go with the Wing Leader? And I think I do. Just getting this 5-powered Sabine down, I think, is really, really solid. And then we can follow it up with a Kira potentially. And do I want to hit? Yeah, I will just go ahead and hit their base for 1 and kill the Dark Trooper. Then we're going to pass here. We got ourselves a Surprise Strike, a Gunship. Okay, Gunship could potentially be interesting. I think I'll resource the Kira because I'd rather get down the K2 or this Gunship, depending on what my opponent's got. Looks like they have an ECL, so they're going to ECL out Sabine. Okay, makes a reasonable amount of sense. Let's go ahead and just Gunship, kill the Silencer. And then our opponent's got the boss coming down. Ooh, brutal. Absolutely brutal. They have the Bounty Hunter's Quarry as well. So they had the ECL Super Laser Technician to deal with the Sabine. Then they had the Bounty Hunter's Quarry to kill the Gunship. They can't double claim it here because then they'd have to flip Bosk first. And they can't do that and deal 1. But still, ended up working out pretty nicely for them. And I think this is going to be a loss. I don't really see a way out of this spot here. We haven't really been able to get... Why does this have 5 power? Why does this have 3 power? Why did it hit me for 5? Why did it hit me for 5? I don't know why it hit me for 5, but I suppose. It's a little bit strange. All right, let's go ahead and ambush out this K2. Hit the Dengar, hit them for 2. Why? I don't know why it hit me for 5. I suppose... Ooh, Ruthless Raider coming in. Yeah, that's brutal as well. Yep. There's no way we come back from this game, I think. I think it's just completely... Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to deploy Fennec. I misclicked there. Let's go ahead and hit their base for 4. I mean, we just have to rush their base. There's not really anything else that we have. The extra Millennium Falcon, don't know if that's going to be relevant, but I guess we'll keep it. It does represent 6 damage, and right now our opponent can't quite kill us, so maybe. What do you have? They could have a Darth Vader. That would be gross. What if they hit me for 4? I mean, I'm still stuck on that, but I think what happens is they use the Bossk bounty and then they end up giving like all their units +1 power. But I'm not sure. They're gonna hit our base for 4. Sure. Let's go ahead and just hit their base for 4. They're going to hit our base for 4. We're going to hit their base for 2. And they have a mall. Okay. I mean, that works, right? We had to race them. And we came pretty close. If we had Surprise Strike, it would have been 23 damage. I suppose, actually, I could have gone Hotshot Blaster plus Surprise Strike, and maybe that would have been the play. Maybe I messed up here, and I could have gone Hotshot Blaster and then Surprise Strike. And to be honest, that's probably what I should have done, because that would have been exactly, and our opponent maybe wouldn't have gone, maybe would have gone with the same plan. Honestly, I think the only way our opponent loses is if they make this play. Like, I think if you just kill Fennec and then hit the Wing Leader, we have very few options to really do anything. Or if you just start with Maul, right? If you just start with Maul, kill my Fennec, and then hit our base. It was a little bit odd when you have Maul and we have a Fennec on the battlefield to go with that. But I definitely should have gone with the Hotshot Blaster plus Surprise Strike play. Was there a time I could have used Tarkin Town? Not really, right? We just one-shot the Silencer. And we ended up killing the Dark Trooper. So, no. Tarkin Town, completely useless game. And that's part of the reason why Bossk ends up being pretty good in some of these spots, where you just use the bounties or you just trade 1 for 1 and it's super solid. So, well played from my opponent, and on to the next one. Into our next matchup. We got ourselves a reasonable hand here. I'm not going to mulligan this one, although I probably will be discarding this Fleet Lieutenant because we have the all Underworld / non Rebel hand. So we're just going to go with the R2 turn 1, discard this Fleet Lieutenant, and see where we go from there. I don't mind the Millennium Falcon later, but usually turn 2 is not insane. Although against Tarkin Yellow, that could be a pretty good option. Sabine's really nice as an ambush option, so maybe we go with that. And, ooh, okay. Do I want to take the Red 3 or do I want to take the Sabine Wren? I think I'd actually rather take the Sabine Wren. Because depending on what they play here on turn 2, I could ambush this out and kill whatever. Tarkin Yellow usually has like things like Incinerator Trooper, ISB Agent, and heck, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. And that's something that can really, really help us win the game. And I think I will just straight up ambush, kill the Incinerator Trooper, get my value when I can, and maybe R2 plus Tarkin Town can take out something else, right? We're going to ambush, resolve this, deal a damage to their base, kill the Incinerator Trooper, and put us in a pretty nice spot. It's one of the reasons why Incinerator Trooper, when you're on the draw, is just so, or not in initiative state with Tarkin Yellow, it can be so brutal, is things like that, right? It just dies to like everything. And if that's your game plan, then you could put yourself in a really poor starting position. Not that they had any choice. I don't know if they mulligan or not, but we'll see. Triple Dark Raid on turn 2. That's usually not something you want to see either as the Tarkin player. But, you know, they could be in a decent spot here afterwards. We'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and claim initiative. I like where we're at. I like where we're at a lot. Gunship looks decent. Daring Raid also looks decent. I think I'll resource this Sabine Wren. Against other decks, it's a little bit better. I'm going to hit their base with Sabine first, just because I don't really want to be losing that unit. And that means I don't want to be attacking their unit, but we will see. Okay. So I can attack it with R2 and then just Tarkin Town it, which I think I will do. Surprised they went with the Sentinel play because Tarkin Town just deals with that. So let's just kill it. And Tarkin Town getting some pretty big value here. Gunship is pretty good against Tarkin Yellow overall, so I don't mind keeping that in our hand. Let's just go ahead and drop in this K2 and then pass. Valiant Assault Ship, okay. I do like this one, actually. I think I will keep it over the Liberator Gunships, actually, because these are now ambushers with the 5 resources, as well as just deploying Fennec. This will be an ambusher, and we can also Daring Raid, so I really like that as well. And, I mean, this is a pretty well-situated game for us right now. They do have a TIE Phantom in play, or in hand, which is interesting, but here, let's just go ahead and hit their base. And we'll see what they decide to do with this Tarkin. They deploy him immediately, which is interesting. I'm just going to get my damage in, the most amount of damage I can. Overwhelming Barrage, okay, you can kill R2 and Sabine, which is fine. Like, that's not a terrible play, right? Oh, they dealt 2. That's... They should have dealt 2 damage to our K2, to be honest, but that's okay. We're just going to hit their base for 4. They're going to hit K2. Sure. Deal 3 damage. Let's go ahead and deploy Fennec. Let's put down a Valiant Assault Ship. Let's attack their base. And then let's Daring Raid them. And then let's pass. And we will not resource anything here. We want this Valiant Assault Ship to get bigger. And so if our opponent decides to resource something to try to play bigger things, then we will be able to go ahead and just, well, get that 5-powered attacker. Not to mention resourcing something doesn't even really do much here. TIE advanced, huh? Okay, this seems like a pretty straightforward just Fennec attack here. Valiant Assault Ship does take care of the game. So does Millennium Falcon between this attack and the next. So they need 3 resources to go ahead and deal with the game. Or they have 3 resources to deal with the game, but they don't, and that's going to be GG. So glad we didn't resource there. Valiant Assault Ship taking care of it. And I mean, this is just... They played an Incinerator Trooper on turn 1, and that's just your worst turn 1 play if you don't have the initiative as Tarkin, right? Everything kills an Incinerator Trooper. Even if they had initiative, and then the first thing they do is give the Incinerator Trooper a token, it doesn't even one-shot my R2, and we probably would have gone with the same play, and we would have just traded with it. Granted, that would have been a better spot for my opponent, but they also should have dealt 2 damage to the K2. Not that it would have really mattered, because they killed the K2 anyways, or they traded with it, or attacked it. And so, it's not like it really mattered, but they definitely should have just gotten an extra 2 damage with the Overwhelming Barrage. But overall, just all rough hand for my opponent, right? Incinerator Trooper turn 1 just really makes it hard. Okay, we can get ourselves a pretty hard matchup against Double Yellow Han. This is like the mono 4-drop hand. Once again, we're going to be mulliganing that into a pretty good hand, actually. Bamboozle is pretty nice against Han, so I do like keeping that. I think I'm going to resource this L3 and the Valiant Assault Ship. I'm just going to start off with an A-Wing. Bamboozle. Very interesting card against our opponent's deck. Very, very interesting. Surprise Strike, another L3. Think I just resource that second L3. I could also resource the Surprise Strike. I think I just want to resource this L3 and get down another A-Wing. All right, let's go ahead and attack their base for 3. They have an Ezra. We have another A-Wing. Ozatech Liberator Gunship could be pretty good against us in this spot for sure. Ooh. So we got ourselves a Sabine, huh? Sabine, I think I want to resource this for a cause. I think the game is not really going to be about the for a cause. So I can ambush out this Sabine, which I think I will do. And we'll kill the L3. Just take care of that. They're going to put a resource down. So maybe they have like... What could they have? Zori Bliss. Okay, Zori's not that scary, to be honest. All right, let's pass. Got ourselves the Plo Koon, the Daring Raid. Okay, Gunship can go into the resource pile. I don't think that's what the game is going to be about. Zori Bliss is very interesting. I mean, it's a 4-powered attacker, which is really the most relevant thing here. Okay, they're going to attack with Ezra to start off. Okay, no playing there. Or they didn't play anything there. Han Solo gets one shot by Plo Koon here, which is pretty massive. Plo Koon coming in. Smack. That was amazing. Plo Koon. This guy. Plo Koon has been absolutely sweet. I was curious if our opponent was going to go for the 6 play. My initial thought was, okay, bamboozle it, right? But this also works out pretty nicely. So they're going to draw a card, discard a card. Hotshot Blaster up, huh? Okay. Let's just go ahead and deploy Fennec. And I think I'm just going to ignore everything and hit the base. I could definitely get rid of that with by bamboozling, but I don't really see the reason to do so. I can definitely kill Zori Bliss with Fennec as well, but I, again, don't see the reason to do so. We are the aggressors here. We have a ton of damage on their base, and we have the double A-Wing. We have the Sabine. We have even Tarkentown, which we could use to finish off the Zori Bliss after it gets another damage on it. But, I mean, we seem to be in a pretty good spot, and what are they going to do? Oh, they're going to Hotshot Blaster a second unit. Okay, I don't really care about that, to be honest. I'm just going to hit their base, and we're going to pass here. And we drew, okay, pretty awesome, actually, because what we can do is play Bamboozle, just play it, Daring Raid and Millennium Falcon all on the same turn. Surprise Strike in. Sure. No problem. Let's play Bamboozle. Get rid of that upgrade. Ozatec Liberator Gunship. Sure. They are dead. And that's going to be game. They can put a resource down, but that doesn't really do anything. I mean, they could replay the Hotshot Blaster, I suppose. Whoops. We'll just finish this. Hit it in for 7, right? GG. Pretty straightforward there. Our opponent didn't really have a great hand. The getting out of Zori Bliss early doesn't really do a lot. Like, it's a 4-7, sure. They really need to see something a little bit more impressive, like a Liberator Gunship earlier on in this game would have been the key. But based on how my opponent was playing it, I didn't expect, like, turn 2, if you have the gunship, you're putting a resource down and you're going to try to kill my A-Wing. But they didn't do anything like that. So they didn't, like, start the turn by going A-Wing. So I was pretty safe to go ahead and deploy my other A-Wing into it. We also had the Tarkentown, which we never ended up using. And Gunship does die to Tarkentown plus A-Wing. So at least the first one isn't actually as devastating as normally it is, because you get to get rid of it. But certainly if they had like a Millennium Falcon alongside that, or a big Millennium Falcon, or another gunship or something like that, really the key there, the Plo Koon coming down one-shotting Han, right? They probably had like, well, as they saw, they defeated Big Han, I think. So they did have Big Han. Not that Big Han would have been insane, but they did have options. They also had an Emphas Nest, I believe, right? Yeah, they had an Emphas Nest, but they had that earlier on. If they had Emphas Nest to start bouncing things early, that would have been insane. But Plo Koon, whew, disgusting. Into our next matchup, we get ourselves a very interesting one against Jabba Blue, the 52 card special over there. I assume. All right, we've been sitting here for like a good solid 30 seconds waiting for our opponent to resource something. So I don't know if they're actually here. Hello. maybe. Okay, no, we're good. No mulligans. We have the Sabine. We get to resource this Hotshot Blaster and probably the gunship. I don't expect gunship to be really that powerful against Vigilance Villainy command. So let's go resource. They're going to claim initiative. We're just going to start off with the Sabine, and unfortunately, Millennium Falcon is going to be our turn 2 play. Not that that's terrible. Millennium Falcon turn 2 isn't terrible. It's just not exciting. Okay, it's not exciting because we want to be able to deploy early threats early. Millennium Falcon is much better as like a turn 5, turn 6 play. Wow, they're going to take initiative again. All right. I mean, we're going to get in a decent chunk of damage here, and we're going to pass. And I will pay 1 here, actually, because we did draw a Wing Leader. And Wing Leader on Sabine is pretty nice. We also have, and I'm going to resource this Valiant Assault Ship, the For a Cause to play if Wing Leader falls apart, right? So I'm not sure what our opponent's doing over there, but, I mean, we've started 6 damage. We got 2 units on the board. Our opponent hasn't done anything. So maybe just a really bad hand from our opponent. That would be my guess. For a Cause isn't terrible here, especially when we've already deployed to the board. If they deal with Millennium Falcon, then we can go Wing Leader. If they deal with Sabine Wren, then we can still go For a Cause and set up our next couple of draws. And at this point, because we've gotten the early pressure in, we can afford to kind of do nothing for a little bit here. Okay, I will go with the Wing Leader. And we're going to Tarkentown the Death Trooper. Just completely ignore the Death Trooper. Don't really care about that. And then do we want to pay 1? We do want to pay 1. And we will resource. Oh, they're just conceding. So GG, our opponent just had a bad hand, right? Their first play was 4 resources and it was a 3 resource play. So just a bad hand, probably. Death Trooper, pretty poor against our deck because it sets up for a perfect Torkin Town, right? We just kill the only unit available. We've got a 5-powered attacker, 3-powered attacker. We'd probably end the game this turn, right? We attack for 5. We attack for another 3. That puts them at 22. That puts them at 24. Fennec puts them at 28. And then we have potentially an ambush K2. We have like Daring Raid plus 4 cost, which represents another 5 damage. Breaking In, which represents 2 damage. Plus 4 cost, which also that's a combination of 5 damage. We had a lot of different options here. Game was over. Well, I've got one more for you all. One more because I got to get those 7 games in with Fennec. And what better way to finish it off than one of the best decks in the format? Of course, we've got no turn 1 play, so let's go ahead and mulligan that. Our opponent's got the initiative, which I think I actually prefer. Let's get rid of this Kira. We're going to go Sabine Wren, which I do like here. And it will kill the Crafty Smuggler, so I also like that. Millennium Falcon big version is pretty good. Wing Leader is pretty trash. Red 3 is also pretty trash, to be honest, though. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to resource the Wing Leader here because I don't expect... it's so brutal for us, to be honest, because we have to go ahead and play this Red 3, and their P38 plus Tarkin Town's going to kill off the Sabine, right? It is just brutal. They're not even going to do that. They're just going to use the shield token. So absolutely brutal. Just disgusting. We can kill the P38, which I think I will do with this Red 3. We really can't be sitting around doing nothing. And we can't afford to keep this on the battlefield. So let's go ahead and kill it. They didn't need to deal damage to the Crafty Smuggler. That was a mistake. It's a May trigger. I think they just clicked it too fast. Yep, they noticed it. P38's a May trigger, so you don't actually have to deal a damage to something. Let's go Kira, and they have Privateer Sick. Huh. Interesting. I think I'll just name Force Choke. Yeah, I think I'll just name Force Choke. Let's claim initiative. They get a 2/2 shielded unit, which is not bad. Ooh, L3? Ooh, okay, interesting. I don't mind this at all, really. I really don't mind this at all, actually. I think what I want to do here is just get in an attack for 3 into their base. Let's go ahead and deploy Fennec. Let's attack the Crafty Smuggler. Just get rid of it. And then they can't use Tarkin Town here. And what do I want to do? I want to ambush. I think I do. Hit the Django for 2. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Oh. The ambush didn't work. So it should have ambushed the Django, but I think I put the shield token on L3. I think I must have misclicked because I was trying to ambush and I thought I was choosing who to attack. But that's not what happened. That's okay. Let's go Millennium Falcon. They have Force Choke available for 5 resources if they want it. They can go ahead and do some work here, unfortunately. Get rid of the Millennium Falcon with Tarkin Town. Not the greatest for us. Let's resource this Sabine. Definitely a little bit unfortunate there because we should have been able to ambush the Django, which is pretty nice. Let's go Millennium Falcon here. I guess we'll hit the Imperial Interceptor. Not that that's exciting because they'll just kill the Millennium Falcon and we get to claim initiative here. Ooh, we have all ground units here, which is a little bit part of the problem, is we just don't have enough. We don't have enough space units against our opponents here. Ooh, they have a heavy Persuader tank. Oh boy. Oh boy. Heavy Persuader tank alongside the Ruthless Raider. They're going to claim initiative. I'm a little bit surprised about that one. I would have just attacked, to be honest. I guess if they have the heavy, if they have the, yeah, I don't know why. I guess we can ambush here. If I discard a card, it can be good. I think I just have to. Ooh, we did hit it. Okay. We did hit the thing that we needed. Let's go K2 plus R2. And let's pass. And we just don't have anything really. Like, we can ambush this guy out, which isn't bad, right? Because we get to kill the P-38 or the Imperial Interceptor. But it doesn't do enough. And if we kill the P-38, we just get it killed. And they have too much threat. Let's see. If I had ambushed the Jango, would have changed anything? Not really. Because I would have just hit the Jango again. Ooh, they pillage. All right, pillage is not normal in this deck, but not surprised to see it. Breaking in, hit for 6, and then they have just approximately 1,000,000 points of damage here. Let's go Hotshot Blaster again. Hit for 4. And we'll just claim initiative. Don't have anything else, really. And that's going to be GG. So, really, what I wanted to do there was ambush out the L3, hit their Jango, and then play the Millennium Falcon. But that, I don't really think, would have changed much. We would have been able to attack their Jango with the L3 to finish it off, but they still would have had the Tarkin Town, I believe. No, because they Tarkin Town away the Millennium Falcon, I believe. So we would have been left with Akira on the battlefield, which is an extra point of damage. Which is fine. So I don't know. That was a decent game. And let's talk about Fennec. All right. So what did we learn with Fennec Shand? Well, guys, she's decent. She's okay. Okay. That is the judgment. I know a lot of you are the absolute connoisseurs of Fennec and you will continue to play her, and I applaud you for it. Here's what I've actually found with Fennec in terms of playing her within the set 3 meta. The big thing, Fennec as a leader, in terms of stats, awful. And that doesn't really change. She's a 5 deploy 4/4. That is just a fact, and it's just not good. Saboteur can come into play in some matchups, specifically against the matchups that are playing some really powerful Sentinels or some things that you can use to defeat their shield tokens, right? Those are matchups that can really, really value, or you can get a lot of value out of the Saboteur. None of the matches that we played today, we really got value out of the Saboteur, right? Village Protectors, absolutely decimated by Fennec Shand's Saboteur ability. Things like that are really good to see. But the thing that I've been more impressed with the set 3 meta is actually the ambushing ability. And this is something that has always been interesting, but the problem with it in previous metas was that there were a lot more mid-range decks, more higher value units. Things like Boba Green was absolutely proliferate. Same with New Haunt, same with like Kira Green. These were the decks that you were seeing very, very frequently. And in those matchups, the ambush can be a lot less useful. Ambushing out things like Sabine Wren, L3s, R2s, Fleet Lieutenants, or K2s, which we did all today, can be a lot weaker in those matchups. When you're against crafty smugglers, other L3s, other Sabines, other 3/3s, ambushing out K2s and Sabine Wrens can be extremely powerful, even if you're paying an additional resource for it. But also when you get to the Fennec flip turn and you have things like Daring Raid plus Valiant Assault Ship that you get to ambush out, that could be a really strong turn. And, well, especially in this meta, as I've said, you have all the ground units that you can ambush into, but because space units are also pretty small usually, the Valiant Assault Ships, the wing leaders being ambushed out can be absolutely massive for your game. You also got some really cool tools with set 3, R2-D2 being one of them. More copies of like Surprise Strike and Breaking In can be very valuable. But to be honest, the biggest one and most impressive is Plo Koon. Plo Koon is an absolute powerhouse in any Cunning Heroism deck, and to be honest, the aggression Cunning Heroism archetype has always been pretty strong, and Fennec has a different flavor of it because of the ambush effects. So you actually have the ability to really maintain board presence with the ambush ability, and then finishing it off with a Fennec plus Plo Koon deploy can be absolutely devastating to your opponent. I mean, you saw against that double yellow Han deck, which is a pretty strong deck, getting absolutely wrecked by a Plo Koon coming down one-shotting Han. And that does happen every once in a while, especially if you're able to get some early game units down. So definitely better than what I've been memeing on, okay? She's not horrible, I promise. Although it pains me because I was hoping she was going to be so much better than she was. She's definitely like one of those high C tier, like mid low B tier type style of decks. You can definitely bring this to your local Fridays and do some work, and you can definitely top a showdown with it. Is it going to be a meta deck? I don't think it'll ever be a meta deck unless we get some really powerful low cost units that can really synergize with Fennec in the future, maybe. But I think the biggest thing is that her just stats hold her back a lot. And the fact that we don't have more 4-cost units like K2 that can really push the boundaries of how powerful a 4-cost unit ambushing out can be, I don't think this is going to be changing all that much. But it's still a solid deck, and something that you should give it a shot if you enjoy the type of aggro ambush style that Fennec is. So I hope this satisfies some of you Fennec players. The hate will stop. She's not horrible, I promise. That's my opinion, and I'll see you all for the next one. Please don't be too harsh on me in the comments.